Y'all know what's going on. It's time for another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker. Now listen to me. I told you the name of the game is leverage. Because in the game, somebody's always going to try to get slick. Whether it's you or the people you bring to the table, you're responsible. And Ralph brought these two individuals from the streets to the table. He didn't understand that the dudes in the penitentiary, they were just using him because he was convenient. He spoke their language, the robbery language. So they assumed that he knew people on the streets that were still with that, and he did. So they talked to him and said, let's make some money. Let's get it. And he was open for it. He knew to the penitentiary, he trying to get his money right so that, he can live the comfortable life in the penitentiary. Live penitentiary fabulous. You understand? And if you don't, what I mean by that is you don't want to have to ask nobody for nothing in here. Or you don't want to have to ask anybody from the streets for anything. You want to take care of yourself. And you want your shelf full. You want your room full of the things that you need and all this and that, which it ain't really nothing. And then also, that brings you notoriety. That brings you that level of security in the penitentiary because people are thinking like, you with it. You one of them guys. You still with the game, right? So they respect that. They respect it when you stay crooked, y'all. See, that's how twisted this place is. If you want to do the right thing, you ain't straight no more. They look at you like a sucker. They look at you like a sucker. But as long as you stay crooked, oh, you straight. Because they know you living by the same code that they live by. And Ralph did. But see, just like that man in the boat, see, God knew his heart. He knew he really did feel remorse for what happened to Muhammad. But see, when you're in the environment that I'm in and that Ralph was in, you don't have that many opportunities to be vulnerable and let your guard down so you can deal with that and you can embrace that and you can become a better person. You don't have many opportunities, right? But Ralph had an opportunity. See, he found himself in a situation right before this next caper that the chaplain came to visit him. And when this chaplain came to visit him, it was because his mother was sick in the hospital. And she was sick in the hospital with cancer. And it wasn't looking good. And the chaplain wanted to talk to him and let him know and told him that he was going to arrange for him to be able to go visit his mother while she was in the hospital. That's rare. They usually let you go visit after the death. After the death, y'all. But see, this chaplain wanted him to see his mother because the doctor thought that this might help her get better. It might give her a reason to continue to fight. Because she had given up. She had given up. Some things were going on at the house that she couldn't deal with no more. And then her son was gone, and Muhammad's parents still looked at them as to blame, right? So she was suffering. She was tired. She was ready to go. So Ralph, he wanted to go. So they arranged it and the warden agreed to it and they took him out there to see his mother and his mother laying on her, in that hospital bed, inches away from death. She said, I love you and I want you to do better. You got to leave that stuff alone. Change your life. She said, I know about the money that you sent to the house. I know that you got to be doing something that you ain't got no business. Leave it alone. Whatever it is, son, leave it alone. And he looked his mother in the eyes and he lied to her. He lied to her. He told her that he would. But see, it was something inside of him at that time. He knew he wasn't. But he didn't want to tell her that. But he looked at his dad and his daddy looked at him and his daddy knew his son. His daddy knew his son. And his daddy echoed what his wife had just told him. Said, son, stop. This is the time to stop. Before you lose everything. You have a chance. You're going to come home one day. You still have a lot of life to live. You can still do the right thing by Muhammad. You can still live a better life. You just got to walk away from all of that nonsense. He said, I'm with you. We're with you. And his mom lay there with the tubes in her nose, and she's looking at him, and tears rolling down her face, and her husband wiping those tears away. And Ralph leans over and he kisses her, and he tells her, "I'm gonna do better, mama. I'm gonna do better." And he hugs his daddy as best he can, because, he got the handcuffs on and the chain around his waist, so he really can't just hug him with his arm. So he just leaned into his dad, and his daddy hugged him, and he told him, he said, "Son, I'm trusting that you're gonna do the right thing. Your word is all you got." And his son, with tears in his eyes and a frog in his throat, said, "I'm going to do my best, Daddy." And the officers, they took him out. They took him back to the prison. When he got back to the prison, the first two people who in his cell was the old heads. And they asked him how was he doing, and they told him everything is going to be all right, but we got business to take care of. And see, Ralph, he wasn't strong enough to tell him, "I'm done." He wasn't strong enough to tell him, but in his mind and in his heart, he said, "This is the last time. I'm done. I'm not doing this." But he wouldn't say it out loud. He wouldn't say it out loud because he was thinking about his mom and his daddy, and he didn't want to do it no more. And he was thinking about Muhammad, and he didn't want to do it no more, but he didn't have the strength to tell him. So he said, "After this, I'm just going to stop. They can't make me do it." But see, this was already planned. Everything was already set. The table was already set. The meal is about to be served, right? The meal is about to be served. But see, Ralph's two associates on the town, they got other plans too. They tired of taking the crumbs and taking all the risk. This time they said they gonna take it all. They gonna take it all. 250,000. They gonna take it all. So the old heads, they lay out the plan, and they let Ralph know what it was. And Ralph go to visit. He talking to his two associates. He laid the whole plan out to them, who it is, where they got to go, and what they got to do, and the best time to do it. And they say, "We got this, bro." They feeding him all of the propaganda, telling him everything going to be straight. We going to be good after this. But Ralph tells them. He tells me, he said, "Look, this the last one. I'm done after this." Then they both look at each other, and then they look at him, and then they say, "That's what's up, bro. We're going to be straight after this. We can leave this alone." That let them know in their minds, look, we got the right idea. This is going to be the last one anyway. Let's take it all. Let's take it all. What they going to do? They in the penitentiary. Ain't nothing they can do. Ain't nothing they can do. So let's do it. So when they leave the penitentiary, on their way home, they plan it out. They're going to hit the spot. They're going to get everything they need to get. They're going to hit a bootlegger, y'all. Now, if you don't know nothing about bootleggers, look, you got a lot of dry counties in certain states, right? A dry county means they can't sell liquor legally, right? So you got bootleggers. What they'll do, they'll go buy the liquor from a legitimate place and then bring it back to their hometown and sell it, mark the price up and sell it. You know what I'm saying? So the people that live in that town don't have to drive outside the county or the city to get liquor. They can get it right there from the bootlegger, and the bootlegger makes plenty of money. I'm talking about plenty of money. Thousands upon thousands and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this particular bootlegger been doing this for years. He got money for days, and he's real dangerous. Real dangerous, y'all. This man don't play about his business. He don't play. But see, Ralph didn't understand that. See, because they had been getting away on these capers, see, because don't nobody know who they are. But see, old heads, what they do in the streets, they got a lot of people out there that mess with them. A lot of the old heads that used to be in the game, and they see their kids and grandkids is out there in the streets, and they find out things is going on that way. So the questions being asked, who's out here robbing? Who's doing this? Who hit such and such? Who hit such and such? All this and that, right? And after some time, a picture starts to develop. They start to figure out who all the robbers were. Excuse me. Who all the robbers are in the neighborhood. Listen to me. In the streets, it's just like a phone book. You know who the dope boys are. You know who the robbers are. You know who steal cars. You know all of this. You know who the bootleggers are. You understand what I'm saying? You know who the shoplifters are. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Quit acting like you don't know what's going on. You know what I'm talking about. So a picture started to emerge about who's out there robbing. Who got money now? Who's spending? Who buying nice clothes? Who going to all the concerts? Who got the nice cars? and ain't got a job. Who doing this? Names started to surface. Now they got to start to eliminate these names and figure out who it is, because it ain't but two people that's hitting these big licks on these old heads. And see, these old heads are trying to figure out, how would they even know how we get down? Because when they come, it's like they know something. But they wasn't even alive in some of the situations to even know how they get down. So it's got to be somebody on the inside, somebody that knows what's going on. And when I say on the inside, I mean somebody that's inside that world. You understand what I'm saying? That knows how they get down. Somebody that's personally involved or know these individuals. Somebody like that got to be part of this. But ain't no names surfacing. Ain't no names surfacing on who could be the source of the information. So anyway, they go hit the bootlegger. They go hit it. And they got exactly what they came for. They went right to the spot and got that 250 and got on down. Didn't have to shoot a gun. Got them. So when the call come from Ralph to them, they don't answer. Now this is the first time it doesn't happen. They know that the lick was supposed to happen at 9 o'clock. Right? Ralph called at 9:30, ain't no answer. They should be back by now. So now, 8:45, he started to sweat. He got to thinking, maybe they got caught, so he turned the TV on to see if anybody been shot or anything like that. Ain't nothing on the TV that's indicating anything like that. Ain't nobody saying nothing. So now the two old heads, they stepped around. They said, man, have you heard anything? He tell them, no, ain't nobody answer. So they get nervous. They said, man, okay. It probably ain't nothing. Everything will be straight in the morning. Now it's lockdown time. But all night long, all three of them, they sweat. Trying to figure out why they ain't answer the phone. They ain't never not answered the phone. Ain't never not answered that thing. So now, they can't wait till the sun come up. Get on that phone. Soon as Ralph come out the next morning, he hit the phone. No answer. Hour after hour after hour, no answer. Now he started to get that feeling in his stomach. Something ain't right here. Something ain't right. Not feeling good. After about 2 or 3 days, he's sick in his stomach. Now the old heads, they getting a little bit more aggressive with him in a way that they never had before. He ain't seen that side of him. They telling him, look, man, don't play with us. Because now they starting to think he done crossed them with his partners. He done something. He ain't got no business. So they tell him, look, you know what we know, man. Don't play no games. And he looking at him like, what you talking about? He said, man, we know where your people live. Don't play with us, man. He look at him. He said, man, I ain't playing with y'all, man. They not answering the phone, man. I don't know what's going on. But see, Ralph ain't really heard what they said. It didn't sink in like it should have. So later on that night, that afternoon, Ralph, the chaplain pays him a visit. Ralph gets another visit from the chaplain. And he tells him, he says, son, I got bad news for you. I got bad news. Your mama done passed away. And now, on top of them not answering the phone, he going through his mama gone. So he gets on the phone. He calls his dad. His dad is distraught. He distraught. And he don't know what to say to his daddy. He don't know how to comfort his daddy. Because in the back of his mind, he's thinking about this caper. This $250,000. He can't even focus on his mama being gone and his daddy going through what he was going through, the pain that he could hear in his daddy's voice. He can't help him. He can't help him. So they just sit on the phone in silence. And after a few minutes, Ralph told his dad, he said, Daddy, I'm sorry, but I got to get off the phone. I'll call you back tomorrow. And his daddy, not understanding that he's got his mind on something else, he said, son, I understand. He said, just call me back tomorrow. I'll be better tomorrow. So he hangs up the phone and immediately hangs up the phone and he called his partners. They don't answer. They don't answer. They don't answer. 2 more days go by. He ain't even called his daddy back. 3 days go by. He still ain't called his daddy back. Now all of a sudden, the old heads, they tell him, so look, something done happened. And what we gonna do, we're gonna have to do something to make you understand that you better get in touch with your partners. Because we want our money. And Ralph is telling them, man, he don't know what done happened. They won't answer the phone. They ain't talking to him either. But he's starting to understand that they done got him. And now, he on the hook for it. He ain't got that kind of money. Even if he gave him the money that they done given him off the other capers, he ain't gonna be able to pay that back. So now he walking around paranoid and scared, but they ain't gonna do nothing to him. Not in there. See, this is one of those power moves. Remember I told you about that leverage, right? Remember I told you. And see, out in the streets, I also told you that them old heads, they've been trying to figure out what's going on. Who's behind all of this? What's really going on? So see, the old heads inside the penitentiary, listen to me now. They called the old head that just got robbed for the 250, the bootlegger. And they tell him, say, look here, man. We heard about something that you might be interested in, man. And he tell him, look, long time no here, but let me see what you're talking about, man. And if you can help me with what's going on, I got you. Because he got money, real money. But he can't be taking no licks like that, because if he take a lick like that and doing what he doing, then everybody gonna come paying him a visit and try to take what he got. So he got to send a message. He got to send a message. So they tell him, say, look, this is young dude in here named Ralph. Right? Now we ain't sure, but we heard he been working with 2 dudes out there that's responsible for hitting you and all the old heads out there. So now, the old head bootlegger, he listening. He said, what they name? They give him the name. He said, man, the dude in there, tell me everything about him. So they tell him who Ralph is and what he's in for. He said, I remember that. I remember they robbed a pawn shop. And his partner got killed, got shot in the back by one of their old friends. They told him, he said, you remember Jesse, don't you work on the pawn shop? Yeah. They shot him, and he shot and killed his friend. I said, man, he testified at his trial for leniency from the judge because he understood the life. You understand? You understand what I'm talking about? Man, in the boat again, y'all. Think about it. So now, the bootlegger said, look, I'm going to take care of this. I got to send a message to him. I want my money back. And I'm going to take care of y'all for that. So the bootlegger, let me tell you something about the old heads, y'all. When they get ready to put in work, they don't play. They ain't listening to none of that old nonsense. They don't want to hear none of that. But they want to make you shake. They want to make you shake with fear. They want to make you shake with fear. So he sends a couple of people through to go pay Ralph's dad a visit. Keep in mind, this man is dealing with making funeral arrangements for his wife. But then them old school gangsters bump down on him. Knock on the door. When he opened the door, they pushed their way in. And they put hands on him. Pistol whipped him. Beat him. And told him, your son crossed the line. And he told him, I don't know what you're talking about. They said, where the money at? And he told him immediately, man, whatever money is here, he sent her. I don't know what you're talking about. And he gave him the money. It was about $15,000. They said, that ain't all. Where the rest of it at? He said, I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. Take that money and go. Leave me in peace. I'm making arrangements to bury my wife. These gangsters, y'all. You know what they told him? You care nothing about that. Care nothing about that. And if you want to know the rest of this story, you're going to have to tune in to the next episode, y'all. This has been another episode of Doing Time with Joe. I'm your host, Joe Baker, and I say peace, y'all.
I'm getting so